Welcome back to Pearl Media, where truth meets perspective. Today, we're diving into another classic Kevin Samuels moment. Let's get into it.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
How old are you?
23.
23. Okay. So you have a question, or are we going to talk about the topic?
No, I'm Colombian. Hello?
Yeah, you're Colombian. How are you?
Yes, and I just wanted to, I do kind of have a question. So, I do have a lot of Black American friends.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Females and males. And I always hear the male complaining about, we out of North America because women ain't treating us right. Women are so tall. They don't want to be feminine. They think they're too independent. Like all of them, most of the Black men I know that are living in Colombia are telling me the same reason. But I also have like female friends that tells me a lot that they really can't just afford being with a woman who is independent. So obviously I do kind of hear both of the side, but I'm very curious.
Okay. How old are you?
As already said.
23. Okay. So you got men saying that women are too independent and that's why we're leaving. And you got women saying, oh, these men are too broke to afford or don't make enough money to afford a woman.
Yeah.
What does your gut tell you? Does your gut tell you that the men are more accurate about what's really going on, or the women are more accurate about what's really going on?
Honestly, is I've never been in the United States. I do have a lot of American friends, but it's really difficult for me to like believe just out of people's opinion. Like yes,
Okay, okay, but okay, you're in Colombia, right?
yes, but
Let's.
also, oh, sorry to interrupt you, but also I know sometimes they will say things like, "Oh, yeah, only because they." I know Latinas are very sexualized, but also Latinas are allowed to. They have an attitude, and they kind of sassy
Well,
sometimes.
everybody has something, but let's stay on the topic of: are the men lying or are the women lying? Are the men exaggerating or are the women exaggerating?
Okay.
Um, if the measure of a man being able to afford a wife is a woman being a stay-at-home mother and never having to work, then that only means 10% of men can afford to get married. That's so are those women willing to share their men? See, women are saying that the reason we won't submit or the reason we can't be feminine is because men today don't make enough money for us to not work. Okay. Well, if that's the case, why don't these women get with guys who can afford to do that? Can they get the kind of men they say they need? Do they look the part? Are they in shape? Are they feminine? Are they
But
childless?
they also talking about the inability to be with a woman who is too independent. Like,
Well, see that, but my question is: the women talk about the men that they don't want, but what do they say about the men they do want? Can they get those men?
yeah, that makes sense.
Right. See, what women do is they talk about the men that they don't want to justify why they're alone. See, women who can get the kind of men that they want don't worry about what men that they don't want are doing. Doesn't that seem like it takes a lot of effort to complain about? I mean, it's like going to a restaurant and you're a vegetarian. You don't spend your time looking at the dishes with meat in them. It's a waste of time. You don't even eat that. You're like, you don't complain about how the steak is cooked. What do you care if they have filet or prime rib? You're a vegetarian.
Right.
All right, but that's how these women talk about men, as if that's the only thing on the menu because they can't get the kind of men they want. Now, the men say that the women are too masculine, too independent. Well, if you have a restaurant and you want to stay in business and grow your business, you have to give the people who are paying, buying your product, what they want. Would you not agree?
Yeah.
Men purchase marriage. If men are saying you're not what we want, what are your options? Give them what they want, be by yourself, or go get a woman. Those are the three options, right?
Yeah.
So on one hand, you got a consumer saying the product doesn't meet my standards. Give me a better product and I'll buy it. That's the men. On the other hand, you got women are complaining about something that's on the menu that they say they don't eat, but yet they can't, but they're not ordering a vegetarian anything. In short, the women are full of shit. They're the problem.
Okay, so what about when they come here to Colombia, especially to
Ooh.
Colombia? They come and look for a wife, the woman of their dream who is very submissive, feminine, that can cook for them and be like a family woman. Okay, Latinas are kind of like that, right? But they come here, they still be playing, like, let's say they find a nice woman who is able to do all the things he's looking for, but they still come in here playing. And I've seen it. So it's like, why?
Well, okay, hold on. Again, just like I can pull up countless men who go there and meet their wives. Colombia, Thailand. So what are we judging on? I mean, it's like when women always talk about the problem. And whatever consumes your thoughts controls your life. Why do you hear women talking about when do you hear women talking about relationships in positive, hopeful terms?
Well, my circle of friends, they do.
I said women. Women in general. Okay. How would you like to date one of those sour women?
Yeah, it's
So
complicated.
you can't automatically assume why you're basically saying that if these men find this woman, then they're playing. Well, okay, sure. I'm sure that happens, but that's an oversimplification. I tend to find more guys that when they go down there, they come back and they bring their woman with them. They marry them. But do you hear women in the West talking about relationships in positive ways? Who has the? And here's the thing: you know, you're a woman. Women tend to try to stay on code with other women. At the end of the day, men are the consumers. You got to give men what they want. Do you think women are giving men what they want?
It really depends on many cultures, but I guess it's not like that all over the.
Well, let me ask you this question. If women gave men what the men say they wanted, do you think men would marry the women?
Oh, don't ask me that.
No. I'm going to ask you that question because it's going to make you have to be honest. If the women were giving the men what they want, would the men marry the woman or would the man choose to stay out here and be single?
Most of the time, they will marry the woman.
That's all we need to know. That's it. There's no but. See, that even diehard woman has come over here in this country and say, yeah, if we gave you what you wanted, you'd marry us. There's always a but. There's no but. There's an end of sentence. Give us what we want or buy a dog and die alone. Because these women you're talking about are in the top 10% of earners. They cannot afford to be single. They don't make enough money to have a life from here to the end. See, that's what we don't talk about. We talk about marriage and relationships with middle income women as if they have another option. If a woman does not get married, okay, and she has no children, when she reaches retirement age, who's going to pay for all that? What she saved up, right? What she saved or what she's invested, right? That's all she's going to have. When she can't work anymore, what happens when they run out of money and have no kids and no family? Ladies, we are your reason. We're your lifeline. And these governments have divorced you from us because You don't need us for your protection because you have fire, police, all these other things to make you feel like you're safe. You don't need us for food, so you can go to the grocery store, restaurant, so you don't really feel like you need us for provision. Now you're picking men based upon want until you're no longer hot enough to choose. Look at the women 55 years old. Look at the women 50 years old and older. Do you see many 50-year-old single happy women? Thank you. That's the future. That's the future. And on conversely, there are a lot of men over the age of 40 who are single and ecstatic. So, did I answer your question?
Yeah.
All right.
Alright, let's talk about this one. She's 23, young, bright-eyed, and still figuring things out. She called in with a few honest questions, hoping for clarity. And honestly, I respect that. Unlike a lot of the women we've seen call into Kevin's show, this one wasn't hostile. She wasn't trying to argue, wasn't over-talking. She just wanted to know, what should I be focused on? What should I expect from men? What do I need to do now so I don't end up stuck later? And Kevin, he gave it to her respectfully but directly. He didn't sugarcoat anything, and that's what I appreciate. At 23, you might feel like you've got all the time in the world, but time moves fast. He broke it down for her. If marriage and family are in your future, your 20s are preparation season. You don't wait until 35 to start asking the serious questions. You ask them now. You build now. Kevin told her what a lot of older women wish they'd heard at 23. He said, start learning what men actually want, not what social media says they want. And most importantly, become the kind of woman who's ready to partner, not just to be pursued. And to her credit, she listened. She didn't get defensive. She didn't push back with attitude. She listened. And honestly, I think she'll be okay if she applies what he said. Because Kevin was right. Being young isn't enough. Pretty isn't enough. You have to have value beyond looks, and you have to be realistic about what the man you want actually wants in return. So here's my takeaway. This was a good conversation. Kevin showed that he wasn't just here to check women, he was here to guide them. But guidance only works when someone's ready to receive it, and she was.